Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the Sentinel system do?
We could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled 3 who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Paging 1, Mr. Ben Dawson. Paging Mr. Ben Dawson.
It's a great day to be Ben Dawson. How can I help you?
Well, every day is a great day to be Ben Dawson. Just isn't that right, Miss Vicky?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So Ben Dawson, we are rapidly approaching the end of the year, or we may have crossed over the end of the year. We're doing this a little ahead of schedule, so you never know where this one comes out. We had a recent article, which is by one former podcast guest multiple times and a friend of the podcast. He has a blog called You Suck at Racing, which we could equally call our podcast We Suck at Racing, but we figured that would be patent infringement. So he came out with one saying heel toe and questioned the importance of heel toe.
I think it's called Heel Toe is for Suckers. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I know who wrote this.
I believe it is. I believe it is. A wonderful blog, You Suck at Racing, just in case you missed it the first time and pulled over and take notes now. So before we get into why heel toe is for suckers, potentially, maybe we should just quickly go over what it is and why, theoretically, you would need to do it.
Yeah, you're using your heel and your toe on the brake and gas pedal to match the revs of the driveline of the engine to, you're downshifting, your heel toe rev matching on a downshift to match up the revs of the incoming gear. So you're going to go down a gear, your RPMs are going to raise. So in between the gears, you blip the gas as you drop into the lower gears, so that when you rejoin or re-engage the driveline, your revs are already kind of artificially up there because you boosted them up with your heel on the throttle pedal. So you're just zinging the throttle with your heel as you're transitioning to a lower gear. So going from fourth to third, you zing the throttle up to where the RPMs will match what they're going to be when you let the clutch out in third.
Yeah. And you don't have to use your heel and your toe. You can use your side of your foot. It's whatever. There's like different strokes for different folks. But
the main idea is that the thought is that you would have your toe and the ball of your foot on the brake pedal, and you're rocking your heel or the side of your foot over to work the throttle pedal to get a little zip on the RPMs with the throttle pedal while your clutch is disengaged.
Because
That
you
takes a
don't
lot of practice.
a little bit, but you don't want to have the quick adjustment of engine speed to wheel speed at that lower gear because that can destabilize your rear, maybe even do like a lockup on the rear, and that'll just throw your turn way off. So that's one of the reasons we do it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever driven anything that had enough power to really upset the tire if I just dropped into a lower gear without matching revs. But that's one of the things I've heard as a justification for these higher power cars. You need to do it. You can't just dump the clutch into, a third to or a fifth to third shift without really upsetting the drive line and maybe spinning the rear tires, like you said, kind of just really messing up your turn in. So I haven't really experienced that, but I understand that that's one of the reasons people say you need to be adept at heel toe downshifting.
So the two reasons you want to do it is to match the wheel speed and the engine speed, and
Yep.
you want to mechanical sympathy. Those are the two big
Yes.
ones that everybody talks about because you don't want to jar the drivetrain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it does. That rings true for me. For me, heel toe shifting is about being a little more in control of the drive line and having the revs be exactly where I want them for when I want to pick up the throttle. A lot of times I'm doing it. Some people like to try to do their heel toe downshifting. Like as soon as they start braking, they want to go, boom, I'm going to get that gear. Boom, I'm going to get that next gear. And then, right, RPM all the way into the corner. I want to do it like, ideally, I'm kind of doing it as I'm trail braking in, as I'm not dependent on, really hard pressure on the brake pedal. I want to do it when I can fiddle around with the brake pedal pressure and it's not that disruptive, which is usually as you're coming out of the brakes and as you're turning in. That's a great time to catch your downshift and do your heel toe because you don't need a big blip by then. The revs are closer to being matched anyway. And it's not like you require a ton of torque as you're turning into the corner. You want to hit it where it's pretty low RPMs. And I want to catch my downshift right before I'm going to be throttling back up coming out of the corner. That's when I want to do it. So as late as possible.
So is that the most beneficial abuse of using heel toe?
To me, it is. To me, you're using it at a relatively low RPM. You're coming out of the straightaway in fifth gear, and you want to drop it down into fourth gear. As soon as you start braking, then you're going to have really high RPM. So you're really going to have the rev match really high, and then you're still going to be kind of dropping the clutch at a high rev. So I'd prefer to wait. I prefer to wait till I've done most of my braking and grab my downshift. So if we're talking about a fifth, fourth, third downshift, a lot of times if I've done a bunch of my braking, that gives me plenty of time to take my time, put the clutch in, match revs up a little bit and go straight from fifth to third. It also gives you time to make sure you're getting in the right gear, that's my preference. I want to match revs, but I want to do it kind of late in the cycle and turning in and just right before I'm going to re-engage the throttle and the drive line for the exit.
So this episode might have become a two-parter because I think we're going to wander into something else. We may come back to Mario's article, but let's talk about Miss Vicky.
Isn't that Ian's article?
You suck at racing Mario, isn't it?
That's Ian.
Is it? Oh, I got it back. Well, one of them guys.
Mario's the arrow. He's the arrow guy.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
So Occam's racer.
Mario's Occam.
Another good thing. All right, I screwed this up. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. No big deal. I figured I'd catch it.
Hopefully, they'll still listen. That's fine.
They love us.
The funny part is I can keep track of them when they're together and when I'm talking to them. But when I'm talking about one of their blogs, I screw it up. But anyway,
you suck at names.
I suck at most things. Just call me vacuum or Hoover or whatever.
There we go.
Miss Vicky, when you downshift, you're coming into a turn, long turn, long straight into a turn, and you need to downshift. When do you do it? When do you do it? Not when does royal you? When does individual you do it?
Oh, well, for me, it's obviously after my braking and clutch work, but I do make sure that the revs have dropped before I actually insert that because it's a hot mess if you don't.
Well, okay, so you're going down a straightaway.
Yeah.
You hit your brake point and your turn-in point. You're still in the gear you were in. Let's say it's fourth gear, just for fun.
I brake and clutch at the same time.
Okay, so then you're holding your clutch down the whole time with your brake down?
No. I'm braking, and then when the revs start to drop, I move the clutch, and actually I slowly start to either downshift when I'm rev match, or I leave it in neutral until I feel the rev where it should be, and then knowing where I'm supposed to be, I'll put it into gear and go.
That could be why you always complain that you're so busy,
Maybe.
because that doesn't seem, it's definitely not what I do. And,
Well,
It seems pretty
no.
subjective. It seems pretty subjective. It sounds like it takes a lot of thought.
it does.
Yeah. Well, no. Well,
I try not to think.
right now. Well, no. Right now,
I'm just a dumb Latin
I'm
major.
doing it to a. It sounds like it, but it's automatic for me. When
Good,
I'm doing it, I'm not really thinking about it.
So,
I just know what gear I'm supposed to be in at what speed when I'm going around.
okay, so we're on the gas. We're banging into down the straightaway. Doop, 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 doop. We get to our turn where we're gonna hit the brakes. We hit the brakes. We hit the clutch at the same time. We let the clutch. We move the gear shift and we let the clutch out.
Sometimes I leave it in neutral when I'm going in.
Okay, so is the
All the
clutch
way-
all the way to the floor or out?
What do you mean all the way to the floor?
The clutch pedal. Are you on the pedal or are you off the pedal?
Yeah, I put my foot on the clutch and move it into neutral, lift up a little bit.
And then come off the clutch or stay halfway on the
I
clutch?
come off the clutch.
Okay, so the
Sometimes
clutch
I'm
is
in
out.
neutral. Right.
Okay. And then you keep going, you turn in, you get to wherever you're
Right.
assuming
And
you're
then
going to give more
right.
gas, and then you clutch again, put the car into the gear, and then
Right.
okay.
Right.
That sounds
what
very
I do.
complicated.
It probably is, but that's because I haven't had a trainer. So I know that I have bad habits that I need to fix. And
Okay.
that's probably one of them. And sometimes what I do is that like I know that if I'm going down the straightaway at Fifth, and I know that when I hit my turn, say for instance I'm coming around on turn one, I know that I have to be in about second gear for that, second or third. So I know what speed I have to be in for that.
Okay. And then you put the car, push the clutch in, put the car in gear, hopefully
Right.
match, and
But I
not
but I
disturb the
wouldn't
car.
do that. Like it would be a total different scenario if I was driving like the BMW, because that's a totally different rev system that I'm working with. You know, it's a different, well, it's not a different rev system, it's a different car, it's a different feel. But if I'm already driving the Honda, I already know what the Honda's doing. I already know where my shifts are supposed to be. And I've already been on these tracks like dozens of times, it feels. So it's like I'm very, very accustomed to these.
Yeah.
But everything I'm doing right now in the car, it's moved to the back of my consciousness. It's automatic, so I don't really even think about it. I just drive.
Okay.
I focus on the track more than I focus on the car because everything I'm doing is already automatic.
Okay.
So it's hard to think about what I'm supposed to be doing and
Okay.
telling you what it is.
All right. So I am going to stay out of the bathtub, Ben.
Good.
What do you think of what she's currently doing?
What I think you're doing is, instead of consciously and proactively working to match the revs, like on your way in, being like, all right, I'm going to downshift here. If I'm braking at the 3, I'm turning in at the 1. I want to be downshifted between the 1 and the apex. You know, I mean, that would be kind of my system. It doesn't sound like you really have a system, but it sounds like you're kind of cheating the system by just kind of getting braking and getting turned in and putting the car in neutral. And then when you think you're about ready for a gear, grabbing
I
one and going.
I didn't know the system. I'm
Right.
just
There's
driving.
but I mean, you're sort of cheating the system by knowing that you're trying to avoid a violent upset. You kind of know that, hey,
Right.
if I just drop it, there's like skeletons in there, so I don't want to do that, you know.
Right.
Or
So
engine
you
goes
know,
boom.
yeah. So you know that you're trying to avoid a potential pitfall. So your kind of clutch, or the thing I'm saying is cheating the system is, you know, instead of engaging a gear the right way and you know having the drive line under your control, you're just sort of disengaging the drive line, doing a little bit of other work, you know.
But
Almost
you know
like
what?
It's like when I'm cooking and I'm doing one thing, like I'm browning meat over here, but I need to turn over here and cut the tomato up. You're kind of doing one thing at a time, when it needs to be kind of everything happening at one time.
But you know that
So
there are times when you know that's one way of the way I'm driving. Like I don't really, it's so bad. I really do need a coach in my car. I really
right,
do.
but yes, the way you're talking about that you described as one of your frequent methods is the one that I'm currently critiquing and saying
Right.
that it's just
And then
it's a weird workaround that's probably not making it any faster.
and then there's other
Mm-mm.
times when I'll do the whole shift system. Like I'll follow the shift system. You know,
What does that mean?
That means I'll downshift on the way in at the same time instead of blip match. Like I might take it into fourth, and then I might take it into third,
Mhm.
depending on the situation of the track. I
Gotcha.
know I need a coach. I need a coach. I
If
do.
only
I
you
need
had one who was
somebody.
willing to go with you
I know,
that you would listen to. But
I
anyway,
know, but that particular coach can be condescending at times. So I need somebody that won't mock me and just so I can just learn.
Mm.
it's not
Mm.
condescending.
Tough times. Tough times.
Okay, so in a okay, so if we were to we're gonna do Ian's article next episode because this one's going to end soon. Or I'm going to kill myself and end up in a tub in a bloody mess. But that's a different story. If we were to get you to fix your shifting pattern, I think you'd be faster than me because you're pretty close now. Like it's plus or minus, but you're losing a ton of time with this pedal dance that you're doing.
I you know what? I probably am.
Yeah.
I probably am. Because
I probably am
not only
faster
that.
than
Well,
you.
no. That's not what I mean. No,
She said she probably is she probably is losing time. Is what she said.
no.
I thought she said I probably am faster than you.
Remember when I'm always talking about playing or racing, and I come to the very end of the straightaway, and it's always like, wow, it's probably
you got
because
all this
of
stuff
that.
to do. Yeah, because you're
Probably
doing
that
way
has
too
something
much.
to do with it. Yeah.
Okay, so Ben, for the audience and my beautiful bride,
yes,
and to keep me out of the tub, you're driving down a straightaway. It's a big, long straightaway. You're hitting fourth, maybe fifth gear. You're coming to let's say it's a right-hand turn. You're all the way left. What are your feet and your hands doing for shifting, not for steering, or maybe a little bit of steering? Like if you were to say the proper technique would be to try to do this.
Right. In my experience, I want to first differentiate and say in my own driving style, if I'm just braking and not shifting gears, I'm gonna left foot brake in that whole answer on a short shoot or something like that, where you're not not having to go all the way through changing gears. My technique for that is take my foot off the throttle, put my left foot down on the brake, and then take my left foot off the brake and jazz back on the throttle as quick as I can. But we're talking about another scenario where we're talking about being at the end of the straightaway, breaking down into a slow enough right hand turn that we're going to need to shift at least one, maybe two gears. So so I know that at this straightaway I brake at the 3. So I got 5, 4, 3. I want to be on the brakes at 3. So at the 3, I'm still pretty well lined up with the left side of the track. So my hands aren't doing much with steering, but I want to go ahead and start braking in earnest before I really get turned in a little bit further down into the brake zone. So I'm just my right foot is on the brake in this case. So my right foot's all the way off the throttle, pretty hard on the brake. I'm braking at the threshold of what the braking system and the tires will allow as far as grip without locking up the tires or sliding or being too hard into the ABS.
What about your left? Where your left foot?
My left foot is just hovering near the clutch, ready for action, but not doing anything yet because I want to hold braking pretty deep into the brake zone before I start trying to shift. Like we talked about earlier, I want to pull my downshifts as close to re-engaging the throttle and near the apex as I can. So at this point I'm concentrating on braking, and all I'm doing with my feet is working on brakes.
Okay, so you hover your left foot. I actually keep mine on the dead pedal. So I have 2 feet down. That's just how I do it. But
I don't know. Who knows?
Potato on that one.
In my head, I'm assuming my left foot's hovering, or it's close enough to be ready for action when it's time. I'm not sure if I'm actually hovering or not. I'm also paranoid about hovering feet over pedals and like accidentally
pushing,
being on the pedal when I don't mean to or something like that. So I could also see myself not doing that. But it's somewhere. It's close enough. It's close enough to be ready to jump out of that phone booth and get busy.
It's ready. Whether it's over the pedal or on the dead pedal, we're somewhere in between. I always like to keep myself as stable as I can, so I have my hands as soft as I can keep them because I have both feet steady. That's kind of.
I never think about what my feet are doing. They just do.
do what I told you to do. Okay, so we've hit our initial braking point. We're cruising down. We're getting to where we start our turn in. Well, feet are still
right. So I'm turning in at the 1, pretty much doing a pretty nice squared off turn in at about the 1. So at that point, my right foot is getting a little bit easier on the brake. My braking
Mhm.
pressure is a little less critical because I'm coming out of the brakes. I'm turning in. I'm trailing in with those brakes. I'm already coming off the pedal, and this is when I want to start doing my downshift. So this is the point where my left foot's getting ready to engage the clutch. My heel of my right foot is near the throttle pedal, about ready to blip it. This is when we do the downshift with the heel to where we rev with the heel of our right foot, engage the clutch, do the shift, and then let it come out at the higher RPM as you re-engage the clutch.
So where
Once or twice, and I'm doing that on turn in pretty much.
So let's assume it's just a 1-gear downshift, so we don't have to get into the 2 gears. Just 1-gear downshift. When are you letting your clutch out?
On the way to the apex.
On the way to the
likely,
okay.
because my kind of driving style is I'll do whatever kind of acrobatics I can to let me be back on the gas at the apex or before. So I definitely want to be back in gear by then. So that's my thinking. There may be people who like to carry it all the way down and be doing that right at the apex and right as soon as they jump on the throttle. But my assumption is I'm going to try to make this guy hustle out of here before the apex, or at least be, on the ball and in gear at the apex and ready to hit it.
But even if you're late, it's plus or minus apex. It's not way early, and it's not way late.
Right.
Does that sound easier to you, Miss Vicky?
Yes. But yes. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid of trashing the engine. So I have like these systems that are set up.
Well, you know what you could do that would make the engine be very safe and never have to worry about being trashed?
What?
Let's go like 30 miles an hour all the way around the track. You'd be fine.
That's right. Yeah, that's not good.
Never have a problem.
Never. That engine will be fine.
That engine will be tough. No.
So, okay. So we have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we will get back to Mario's article.
I'm willing to go ahead and work on you as coaching.
Okay. Because we could do this literally. We could do this at the airport.
Yeah. We can. It's a little touchy.
Well, this part of we can. How about that?
Yeah. So we'll work up a system on how we can communicate.
Okay.
I can send you a video of me driving.
Non-maritally.
Yeah. You two need to dissociate from when you guys are in a coaching in the car situation. You need to pretend like you just met each other and you don't care what the other one says about each other.
Hey, baby, baby.
I just found out my wife hates my singing and thinks it's always sounded goofy the other day, maybe like last night. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I'm never singing again. So anyway, I had to dissociate myself and just pretend like I had just met her. She was somebody whose opinion I didn't really care about. So just trying to give you that as an example of feel good. You're just laughing so hard. Damn it, I'm trying to bare my soul. She's cackling.
She's heartless.
She's chortling. She fell out of the frame of her video screen at the Zoom call, cackling and chortling at my misfortune. Well, that's great. Well, good luck to both y'all on that coach. Condescend the shit out of her, Bill. Condescend her, make her feel terrible about
everything. Listen, Ben.
How long have you been married?
So long.
Couple months.
20 years. 2007.
So here's what I offer you, Ben. Okay. In exchange for that and not being heartless like my beautiful bride, next time we're at a race and we're racing together, you just push that button and sing your heart's content to me on the radio.
Thank you. Apparently it's a weird falsetto.
I'll just blame it on the radio system. Don't worry, Ben. It'll be perfect.
Thank you.
It'll be like
I've
a combination.
never heard Bill sing.
You're going to be like a combination of Freddie Mercury and Robert Plant. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm hoping for that. That's what I'm hoping for too. Yes. Don't stop me now.
Nope.
Don't stop me now.
Absolutely. All right. So I think this is going to be a really long Dominating with Dustin, or our first ever 2-part Dominating.
I think we got to go to a 2-parter. I think
so.
But this is going to give the listeners a lot to think about going into a little bit more of a deep dive on the next time we talk about heel toe.
Right.
But
so
I think we can agree. I think we can agree it's worth doing, at least at this point.
Absolutely.
I like doing it in cars just to kind of keep them alive longer, be more mechanically sympathetic. So does Vicky. She just does it in a more roundabout way, but she's also being nicer to the car because she's scared of having to rebuild everything all the
time. You want to know there's going to be a surprise in part 2. Now coming to you next week on Dominating with Dawson.
All right. Be excited.
That'll be fun. See you next week.
Mhm.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.